more focused on advancing security and stability. This is an agricultural development team in Afghanistan that is a team composed of reserve officers that had agricultural backgrounds. This is General Chiarelli's analysis of Sadr City and the relationship between locations of violence and the delivery of service. This is how many hours they actually have electricity in these different neighborhoods. And you see where we have less electricity is also where we have greater violence. So the delivery of technical capabilities and engineering services ought to be the key part of our strategy, and more we're seeing that come into play. Shannon Baby, AEPI is the Army Environmental Policy Institute, one of our key partners in the development of a strategy in the Army for sustainability. He also was an Army War College fellow, and he's written this book, The Ultimate Weapon is No Weapon. I would recommend it as excellent reading for this issue about new thinking on global security. We'll take one last quick look at some of the partnerships in academia. The War College has a program with colleges. About a dozen universities are involved in this. Growing the Army's future leaders, these are officers, junior to senior officers that get into this program, go to a university, not as students, but as writing a particular paper on a specific issue. For example, David Karstens is writing one right now on climate security in the Pacific area as a War College fellow. So a sustainability issue could be whatever topic is accepted by the War College and the Army Environmental Policy Institute. This is something that the University of Illinois might want to consider, because right now the War College is very interested in spreading this program geographically, and they don't really have a Midwest location. An important partnership in growing leadership understanding of sustainability has been with the University of Virginia Darden School of Business. And I mentioned there's about 5-year partnership of courses there. Wanted to mention that, important partnership for us is the University of Illinois and our MOU that we signed in 2009. And this is one of the many activities under that MOU where we're supporting the 2011 DOE Solar Decathlon House. Got involved in the design of this too from the military connection. So there's a military response contingency operation location. And more broadly, looking at the linkage between sustainability and education and the role that's been played by the Army, is that we've been working with this 19 agencies that are involved with the Cooperative Ecosystem Studies units. These are the locations that are covered by those units, so all of the U.S. I'm sure many of you are aware of this program, Cooperative Ecosystem Studies. It's a national program. 19 agencies across the government participate in it and use it to fund activities in academic organizations. It's been focused on ecosystems and watersheds, but working with those 19 agencies and their board, it's been expanded to consider the whole range of sustainability topics. And some of the first new sustainability tasks under that have been done here at the U of I. So the program has been formally expanded to consider a range of sustainability topics. And so those are sort of impacts, looking at what's the Army's influence on the marketplace, what's the Army's influence on its neighbors, what's its influence on the education system. Obviously the military has some advantages. This whole notion that Friedman made about, the organization moves in a direction, the leaders point out, here's where we're going, and they follow. They also have another big advantage, deep pockets. And a unique global reach, in that the U.S. military is involved with almost every other military on the globe, and has mill-to-mill relationships. And so when the military is talking about sustainability, these other armies, and there's lots of those discussions that are happening right now. We've been involved in a number of them about sharing about sustainability efforts across military organizations. There's also a few issues. I mean, we are talking about sustainability with an organization whose capacity is to be effective in destruction. But it's also the capacity to keep the peace. Another issue is that the military-industrial complex is enormous. And if sustainability doesn't stay in the spotlight for the military, it can be weighted out. And they can move on to what's the next big thing that the Army is going to be pushing. I doubt if that'll happen, though, because it's not an Army initiative. The Army is one player responding to a global initiative. And so the military-industrial complex is getting influences about being more sustainable from many directions. But an important direction for the Army is going to be to look at, very few of these slides that I showed had to do with the industrial complex. What we need to do in our focus next is pay attention to who's building what, how is it being built, how could that change, and what would that do to the dynamics of the suppliers. And, by the way, maybe the whole design of what's being provided. So those are some thoughts about, is the Army going green? Yes, it is, and yes, it's also difficult. It's a big organization, there's lots of challenges, but some progress is being made. A number of folks contributed ideas and slides to this, and I really appreciate the time to share with you. Thanks very much. Be glad to answer any questions.